Hello my spooky people. This installment of secondhand sewing is a little bit special. It's still kind of a low number, but I just recently hit 2,000 subscribers and it just kind of blows my mind that there's 2,000 people out there that think I'm good enough to subscribe to. So thank you guys for that. This is just the start and I'm so excited to see what my channel will look like in a few years. And so because of this little milestone, I'm going to go ahead and launch a Discord server. Really, it's to talk about projects and just crafting and just hang out and chill and chat and get some updates from me when I'm having those long projects and I can't really upload a video as frequently. If you want to chill and hang out, check out the link in the description and I can't wait to talk with you. But on to the main video this week. I am going to be making a shirt for secondhand sewing. Way back when I was first starting to sew and create my own wardrobe, I found Bernadette Banner's channel here on YouTube and she was doing a couple projects or one project, I can't really remember, it's been a while, where she was using some insertion lace and basically using that as fabric or ways to decorate a piece, and I fell in love with that concept. And of course I love lace and things kind of see-through but pretty. I found that and I was obsessed with that technique and instantly made a couple of shirts using it, this one included. The technique is you just take some insertion lace and sew them together at the very edge, usually by hand. I'm sure you could do it by machine, but I don't trust myself enough for that. So it's a tedious process, but I honestly think it's worth it at the end. So that's really what I wanted to do with this video, is make another shirt and have some long sleeves that aren't more lace. I have this pattern from 1973 and I will be using this lady right here. I'm not really going to be modifying this a whole bunch. All I'm going to be doing is lengthening the sleeves to full length and that's really it. It's already got a separate yoke on the front and the back, so I don't really need to worry about creating a yoke panel like I did for this shirt. So without further ado, let's go start making up my new shirt. While I'm transferring this onto some wrapping paper, this pattern is about a size and a half too big, but I don't think I'm going to do a mock-up or worry about the size. This looks like it's supposed to be a pretty loose fit anyway, so it should be fine. I'm also going to do some French seams, which might help lower that size just a tiny bit. As I said before, I'm not going to do a whole lot to modify this shirt. The only thing that I am going to do is make the sleeves longer. And to do that, I'm just adding length onto the bottom of that pattern piece. Normally after I get the pattern transferred, I jump right into cutting the fabric out, but this shirt is going to have some extra steps, so to avoid my fabric fraying more than I can salvage, I'm going to worry about that later and just start making the yoke pieces for now. Bernadette taught me that you can sew the very edge of insertion lace pieces together and create what is essentially a new piece of fabric. So what I'm doing is lightly pressing the lace into a more straight shape. I'm going to lay that over my pattern piece and then sew the strips of lace together by hand. I could probably do this bit by machine, but honestly, that scares me. I use my machine a lot, but I do find that I still have a lot more fine control by hand. And with as little room for error that this technique uses, I need all of the control that I can get here. So by hand it is. I'll use a plain running stitch and I'll add a back stitch every inch or so just to make sure that this is nice and sturdy and can last as long as possible. Both yoke pieces have an on the fold part, and that's where I'm starting my lace pieces and how I'll line it all up later on. While I'm stitching this together, I'm making sure to add enough extra and not cutting each lace piece exactly to size to give me a little more room for error and to account for shrinkage and things moving once it's all pressed and straightened a final time. I had bought both of these laces years ago to make a couple of blouses and I have a lot of leftovers of each type, but I'm still a little worried I might not have enough of one type to do the whole thing, so I'm alternating with this pattern. Which is good because I did end up using almost all of this thinner type and I definitely wouldn't have had enough for the whole thing of just that lace. I still have about half of the remaining thicker type, so that might still appear in something else later on. Once all of my lace panels are put together, which took a few days to do, I'm then going to thread mark the pattern shape onto the lace instead of cutting it for now. I want to avoid cutting into my hand stitching for as long as I can. Then I can finally cut out the rest of the shirt pieces out of a bedsheet I had thrifted a while ago. It amuses me so much how big this sleeve pattern is. It's bigger than my work table and the entire rest of the shirt. These are going to be massive. I'm so excited. At this point, I'll quickly connect the yoke pieces at their centers, lining up where I had thread marked them earlier. This creates the front and the back yoke pieces, and I can finally start on constructing the rest of the shirt. As I mentioned before, I'm doing French seams, so everything is backwards and double. How I'm going to put this together starts with all of the side seams, including the sides on the lace and the shoulders, as well as the long seams on the sleeves. I'm doing this all at once and in one big batch just to get it done with. Once all of those seams are pinned, I'll then sew them with the right sides facing out. Next, I'll trim any fraying edge and then flip it wrong sides facing out, press, pin, and sew it again. This will encase those raw edges in a little tube and make an overall stronger seam. While I'm here, I'll go ahead and run 2 loose, extra long gathering stitches along the shoulder of both sleeves, leaving long thread tails for later. Next, I'm going to attach the yoke to the bottom of the shirt with another French seam. Learning from my existing shirts, I don't like how floppy the yoke seams can be sometimes, so I'll just go ahead and sew that down for this one. Before the sleeves are attached, however, I'll go ahead and do a quick rolled hem on the bottom of the shirt. I'm sure I could have done a rolled hem on the sleeve cuffs as well, but I decided because it's a little easier to use some bias binding for some quick cuffs, as it already fits my elastic and I don't need to worry about measuring. Next, I need to attach the sleeves at the shoulders. With the shirt body right side out, I'll push the inside out sleeve into the arm's eye from the inside and pin and ease it in place. Once both are pinned, I'll sew the shoulders. I'll then trim the extra lace and fraying bits of fabric around the arm's eye, flip it inside out, and then pin the seam closed again to make this a French seam as well. The pattern instructions had the yoke as a lined piece instead of dealing with any facing. But since I have lace here, I'm going to use some more bias binding along the neck of the shirt. And the last thing I did was run some elastic through the sleeve cuffs and close those off. And we are on to the reveal! I love these sleeves! They're flouncy and poofy and great. Oh, I am a sucker for some poofy flouncy sleeves, and these just, they're fantastic. I love this shirt so much. It gives me far too much serotonin. It is, I adore the overall vibe of this shirt. I think it turned out fantastic. I am so proud of this. The lace came out beautiful, and I'm so glad I went with the pattern that I did for that. What didn't go so right is going into this one, I knew that this pattern would be about a size and a half too big. Naively, I thought that because I was doing French seams that will eat more seam allowance than normal. I was wrong. It didn't really affect it at all. Oh well. I'm still very happy with how this turned out. That also means the neckline likes to move around. I've got it taped in place right now, so I know that if I don't have like a harness or tape holding it in place, that I'm going to need something to keep it in the right spot, because otherwise this neckline will just sink. And that's not great, especially because I don't want to flash everybody. Not that kind of channel. So yeah, it's a little low, but that's alright. I think later on I might fix that by taking the shoulders up and just doing like a new seam right up there and fixing it that way. That might work, honestly, but I also really kind of enjoy that when I have this taped in the right spot, I have this wonderful drop shoulder effect. And the fact that I was also following along with some Bernadette Banner content feels historical and I like it. It's not at all, it's from the 70's, but I still like it. It's so cute. I love poofy, flouncy sleeves that are just absolutely ridiculous and are far too big. And when I was making this shirt, let me tell you the amount of joy I got from the fact the pattern piece for the sleeves were bigger than the entirety of the rest of the shirt. Fantastic. I love it. Poofy sleeves just get me. I went too long without poofy sleeves. I really did. This is amazing. It's great. I had a lot of fun with this project. I loved getting back into the insertion lace method, and I think I did a really good job with this one. This lace definitely didn't want to stay straight, and so I struggled a little bit on that, but I think in the end I was able to get something that looked fairly okay and decent, and I can't really complain too much. Yeah, it's like a size too big, but it's whatever. I can make that work. Don't forget the Discord link is in the description. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe for more, and if you made it to the end of the video, go ahead and comment with a pumpkin emoji, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!